Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. I know it's been a while since we've done a video on a newer car, but a customer in today complained of squeaking brakes. So I'm going to go through what I would check to resolve this. It doesn't necessarily mean you need knee brakes and pads. So I've got this up on the ramp, but this is something you can check in your driveway. I'm going to jack it up and first of all get the wheel off. So let's make a start with that. Okay, so now I've got the wheels off, I can see straight away that there's good condition in the disc and that there is plenty of life left on the pad on this side. Can't see the other side, but they should be wearing down at about the same rate. So let's take a closer look. So what we're looking for in the disc is any deep scores, anything like that, and also how much of a lip we have at the top and the bottom. Here there's no lip at the top, bottom, no scores in the disc. It looks to me like it's been fairly recently fitted. And again, the pad, you can see that's got a real big thickness. Again, that can't have been fitted long ago. Now, it can be sometimes that the brand of the pads or the disc you have, they just naturally squeak a bit. There's not really a lot you can do about that, and it's not necessarily that the expensive ones are better or worse. They should be. But you can get some expensive brands that will squeak. I'm not going to name any, but just to carry on our investigation, because it's not necessarily because of the brand, what we're going to do is we'll take the caliper off. So it's a floating caliper, so you've got bolt at the top here and at the bottom, and we can take that off. So I've hung the caliper up so it's not resting on its own weight. That's the last thing you want. But we come round here and you can see on the pads that there's plenty of life left on both of them. One thing I can see is there's a bit of a build-up of brake dust at the top and bottom here. That can sometimes be the cause of squeaking. And on these rubber boots, they are very stiff to pull out. When we push them back in, again, they're quite stiff, so they should have a bit more free movement in them, and again, that could be the cause. So we can pull them out, get them freed up, and then also on the caliper itself, sometimes the piston can get a little bit stuck, and that will not let the brake pad open up as much as it should, so it's always just slightly catching on the disc. So what we can do is just wind this all the way back in with a tool, and then make sure that's free to come back out when we depress the pedal once everything's fitted back. But for now, I think I'm just going to remove these brake pads. I'll leave this one in because it's going to have the cable, I think, for the wear sensor. No, this one doesn't have it, so maybe it's on the other side. So these two, I can pull both them out, get the everything cleaned up in here, pull these out, we'll grease them up, and then push the piston back in the caliper. So for the brake pads to come out, they'll just pull out. They're held in with a spring here. You can see there's a bit of a build up on there. We'll be cleaning up in here. And the same on this side. Pop out like that. Set them to the side for 1 second. These then should just pull out. So I'll pull it so far, and then I need to just roll the rubber off the end of the lip there. You can see that that's got a bit of grease on it. We'll clean these up and get them refitted. So that one's come out a lot easier. And then yeah, so for cleaning them, I'm going to be using a wire brush, something like this. And it's just going to be a case of trying to get all the brake dust out. So here we can see we've wound that piston back in. It wasn't particularly tight, so I don't really think there was an issue with that. But, we'll just get this pulled back out now. There we are. And then final thing to do is just going to be clean everything up with some brake cleaner. we'll grease the pins, sliding pins here, and the springs for the pads, and then get everything fitted back. Okay, so for these pins, personally I like to use red rubber grease. I think any lithium grease would be okay, and on this particular vehicle it's a Golf Estate. There's a difference between the top and the bottom pin, so just need to make sure that goes back in to the correct one, and I'm just going to slip this rubber boot over. And you can see now, hopefully, that's got a lot more spring in it than what it had before. So same idea with the top one. Get this grease on it, and like a copper slip or aluminium slip isn't really something I'd recommend for these. They're not the best for lubricating a sliding component. And again, just get this boot over the lip. And there we are, that's a lot freer to move as well. So next up then is going to be pads back in. What I'm going to do is I'm going to grease on the pad, not on the carrier. I'll just take my gloves off because I've got a bit of oil in them, grease on them now. So here it is all cleaned up. You can see we have the stainless steel springs at the end. And what I'm going to do is just get a bit of grease on these tabs. And that's going to stop them from seizing up. And it's good practice to make sure these go back in the way they came out, because they're bedded into that side of the disc. So I know this is off this side because the other side has the piston mark on the back of it. And the way this is going to go in is just, I'll put this brush down. Get it inside there. And then that spring's going to close up, and that's going to go tight. And we're just going to do the same on the other side then. So onto the other side. And then we can lift this off. And I'm just having to push that mount at the bottom. These bolts then, these ones had Loctite on them, so I'm going to clean them up, Loctite them again. Yeah, you'll have to check your manufacturer specifications, whether they need Loctite, what torque you have, whatever. I'll just get that one started. And then sometimes it can be a little bit fiddly to get these lined up. But that one's gone straight in, so that just needs tightening up now. Another thing I forgot to mention earlier is another cause, or possible cause, is you could get a small stone stuck inside, and that could cause a lot of squeaking, but that would be a very high-pitched squeak. So yeah, that's it. We'll get this tightened up, wheel back on, or before we put the wheel back on, I'll give it one last clean with a brake cleaner. Wheel back on, we'll clean up a bit of grease around here, and then take it out for a test drive, see if it's still making a squeaking noise. So yeah, the vehicle's down now. Last job's to get these torqued up. So again, you're going to have to check your own vehicle's manufacturer specification.